Hey, Joyful Journeyer. Anita Adams here, your host. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart: how to communicate in a way that allows you to truly be heard and understood. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to love when everything is, well, easy? But the true test of any relationship comes when things are no longer so smooth. If you've been in a long-term relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the beginning, everything is fresh, exciting, and we tend to try harder to show our best selves. But inevitably, we hit those road bumps and the journey becomes more challenging. I've come to realize through my own experiences that to build a healthy, happy, lasting relationship that can weather those bumps, we absolutely have to develop strong communication skills. I too learned this the hard way and nearly at the cost of my marriage. According to some experts, there are four main communication styles: supportive, initiating, direct, and analytical. Now let's take a closer look at each one. Supportive communicators are empathetic, excellent listeners who focus on building relationships. They value harmony and they lean toward a patient, collaborative approach. Initiators are enthusiastic, outgoing, and full of energy. They love brainstorming, sharing ideas, and socializing, and are often very persuasive and highly expressive. Direct communicators are straightforward, focused on results, and assertive. They get to the point, prefer efficiency over small talk, and value decisive action. And finally, analytical communicators are detail-oriented, logical, and methodical. They value accuracy, data, and prefer to process information thoroughly before responding. Each style has its strength, and no one style is inherently better than another. We often adopt our styles depending on the situation, but understanding your primary communication style and how to communicate effectively is key to fostering joy and success in your relationships. Now, however, there's one style the experts don't typically recognize, but I believe it's common, so common. One I know intimately from my early years of marriage. I call it the telepathic communication style. Sound familiar? In those days, those early days of my marriage, instead of asking my husband outright, I'd think hard about what I wanted him to do, expecting him to somehow pick up on my needs without a word from me. For example, I'd silently wish for him to make dinner or clean the kitchen, sometimes even meditating on the thought, clean the kitchen, clean the kitchen, like I had some magical powers. When he didn't respond to my telepathic cues, I'd drop hints, closing cupboard doors loudly, banging pots around, muttering under my breath. Sometimes he'd catch on. Sometimes he'd just quietly leave the scene. My expectations, unfortunately, went beyond simple household tasks. I wanted my husband to intuitively understand my deeper emotional needs without me expressing them. And while I focused so much on what I needed, I failed to see what he needed from me. He, like many men of his generation, was raised to keep his feelings private, to grin and bear it, to figure things out on his own. And it didn't help that I wasn't giving him space to open up either. Over time, our communication breakdown created a vast emotional void. We went on living a life that from the outside looked happy. We had two wonderful kids, a lovely home, and plenty of toys to keep us busy. But inside, we were mentally isolated and lonely. We weren't talking about what really mattered. A turning point came when I attended a 3-day intensive leadership program. I had enrolled in this program to improve my business skills, But it also happened to coincide with a very difficult time in my marriage. One of the main topics covered in this program was effective communication, and it struck me to be happy and successful. I needed to become a better communicator in all of my relationships, not just my business relationships. That's when I realized I needed to find my voice, to speak openly and from the heart. And I needed to start at home with the people I love the most. That program changed me. I finally understood that I couldn't rely on silent cues and hints. I had to voice my fears, desires, and even the small things like asking for help with dinner. As I began to open up, I noticed something magical. My husband felt free to open up too. By speaking honestly, I gave him permission to do the same. We began to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level. It took time, effort, and even tears, but we were able to bridge the emotional distance between us. Today, I'd say my primary communication style is supportive, while my husband's is more analytical. Knowing this helps us understand each other better. I give him space to process his thoughts, and he knows I seek empathy and patience. I believe that my old telepathic communication style is more common than we might admit. Sometimes we just wish our partners could read our minds because it feels more romantic, as if they could truly understand us without us having to say a word. Maybe Hollywood is partially to blame for this idolized view. But the reality is, this approach is risky. It's like placing a bet on a roulette wheel with odds against you. If you resonate with this story, I hope you'll take something from it. Reject telepathy as a communication style, for one. Take time to understand your own communication style and find the courage to express your needs and desires. Start small if you have to. It does get easier over time. For me, simply asking for help in the kitchen opened doors I hadn't expected. As you begin to communicate from the heart, you'll see the world respond in kind. Relationships deepen. You feel more empowered, and you make it easier for others to open up as well. There's a treasure to be found in discovering your voice and learning to speak your truth. I know that speaking up can feel challenging at first. If you need a bit of support, reach out. Let's have a conversation. And pick up a copy of my book, Whispers of the Soul, where I share more about my personal story on how I transformed my relationship with my husband. And I offer some more tips on how to find your authentic voice. All right. Thanks for tuning in, Joyful Journeyer. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.